beautiful planner friends. I am back with another plan with me, this time in collaboration with my awesome friend Justine of Justine Plans. And we're doing a spread with this gorgeous kind of summer end transitional kit from Planning World. And we decided to keep this interesting and pull some questions for us to answer. So I'll be doing that in a minute. But first, if you're not following her already, which you probably all are because this girl is amazing, Justine is the kind of planner friend that made me want to join this community in the first place. She is super genuine. She is not afraid to speak her mind. And she is the queen of layering. I love her planner spreads so much. They're so beautiful. And I was even a little nervous because I, want to be able to live up to her amazingness with her planner spreads. But anyway, I'm not going to ramble on too much, but I'll leave a link to the video that she did with this spread, or this kit rather, down below, as well as her Instagram handle. It's at Just Plans, and go ahead, run, don't walk, and follow her. So let's get into the questions while you watch me plan here. And I did really like how this spread came out. Partly, sometimes when your kit is just that good, it's kind of hard to mess it up. And that's how I feel with most of these Planning World kits, honestly. I just feel like it sets me up for success. But I won't lie, I have been a little bit uninspired lately, and that's why apologies. This video is coming out a week later than it's supposed to. I've just been really busy with real world stuff, so it's been hard to kind of stay on top of it. So hopefully you guys don't mind getting that video a little bit later. But anyway, here are the questions. First one, what's a weird eating habit that you have? I think one of my weird eating habits, aside from the fact that I could eat a hamburger in like 4 bites, and it's not the most attractive thing about me, but I don't really like to have like my food touching on a plate, and I don't really like to eat it together. So if it's like rice and meat and a vegetable, I'll eat the vegetable, I'll eat the rice, and I'll eat the meat. But I don't really like to have my food kind of mixed up and touching, even though I know in the end it ends up being that way. I was a little bit more strict about this as a kid. I've gotten better as I'm an adult, but it is what it is. Are you more of a live to work or work to live type? I think most people that know me know that I am a live to work type of gal. Not to say that I'm just all about the business, but I will say that my work has been a really important part of who I am and the way that I've kind of developed over the last 8 to 10 years or so. And I've always been kind of a very ambitious and go-getter type of individual. So work and succeeding in work is really important to me. I will say that it's gotten to be a little bit less of the way that I value myself over the last few years, particularly when I met my husband and we started dating, because at that point there are other things that made me feel whole and important and needed in a way that work did. But I still work a lot. I still strive really hard to achieve. I think generally I'm pretty far ahead most people in their late 20s because of that drive, and I'm really proud of myself for that. Plus, it lets me afford a relatively expensive hobby like planning with stickers and having 6 or 7 planners. So it definitely lets me live as well, live to work too. What's the dumbest way you've been injured? There's probably a bunch of these types of instances, but one that comes to mind pretty immediately is I was with a friend getting ready for her housewarming party, and I had volunteered to make guacamole because I do it really often and I think it's pretty good the way that I do it. And I was cutting up the avocados, and I probably had a drink or 2 already to pregame. Plus I was rushing because I wanted to make sure that it was finished, and sometimes you're talking and not paying the most attention. So I was having an avocado with a pretty sharp knife, and there's the part where you have to get the pit out of the half with the pit inside of it, and you kind of chop down the knife onto the pit to get it stuck in there, and then it gets lodged onto the knife and you pull it out. Well, I wasn't paying the most attention, and instead of karate chopping the pit of the avocado, I smashed my thumb. And so I cut pretty deep into my thumb. I actually still have a scar there on my left hand and a little bit of nerve damage, but I cut pretty deeply through. And this was one of those deep cuts that I was afraid to look at, and almost made me pass out from kind of the fear of what would happen. And it's on the bend of my thumb, where every time I move my thumb, it would kind of open the gash and make it bleed a ton. But I didn't get stitches, even though I probably should have, and my thumb works pretty perfectly now, so now it's just kind of a funny thing to remember. What fall planner launches are you most excited about? I think the one that I'm most excited about right now is the Moxe Life Planner, which should be launching in October for their 2021 planner. And right now I'm using the tail end of a 2020 planner that my sister graciously gifted to me when she was kind of decluttering a little bit. So I really love that format and the mindfulness of the goal setting that it has within there. And right now, because I have so much going on between work and some side gigs, and also just trying to have a little fun while possible with the weather still being nice, it's been a bit crazy. And so I've been leaning a little bit more towards functional planning even than this kind of memory planning. So that's something that I've been keeping up with, and I've even been playing around with a bullet journal from Archer and Olive, where I'm trying to figure out potentially some time blocking spreads where I can kind of balance everything in my day and have a little bit more control over everything that I'm doing and when I do it. So yes, I'm very excited for the Moxe Life launch. I'm definitely going to be buying that one. I'm also thinking about buying the Passion Planner 2020 for January, because they have a great time blocking system in there. So I'll probably do a mix of those in addition to my other functional planner from the Cloth and Paper Agenda with inserts, and just all the different planners, just to make sure that I'm organized like a crazy person. Which of your skills would be the most useful in a zombie apocalypse? Oof, I'm not sure I would be the best person to have on your squad, because I'm not really very outdoorsy, and I'm not sure being a hyper organized planner I don't think my stickers are gonna save any lives in the zombie apocalypse. But maybe if someone tells me that I can't do something or I won't win or whatever, my competitive vibe really comes into play, and I am extremely competitive. So I will likely, if there's a them or us teams type of thing, I'll probably thrive because I'm willing to do whatever it takes to win, or in this case, I guess it would be survive. So Ignore comes from a place of spite. I guess my spitefulness, my competitiveness is my biggest asset to the zombie apocalypse. NSYNC or Backstreet Boys? Oh man, that's a hard one. I would say NSYNC were probably the better dancers and kind of the more cohesive brand package, but the Backstreet Boys were better musicians and their music was better to me. So I would say I was a Backstreet Boys girl, and I really loved Brian. I think he had some sort of heart defect or illness, which made me like him even more because it felt all the more romantic and tragic, which is weird, but that's something that I recall from my childhood. What else? Let's see. I'm just jumping through the list here. How do you feel about the word moist? This one definitely is a little bit contentious. I know that a lot of people hate the word moist, and I did as well. I think it's the mixture of the O-I-S sound, which is like oi, which doesn't sound very pretty or musical to the ears, but there's honestly no better way to describe like a piece of cake that is so perfectly made and has that kind of, I don't want to say juiciness, but moistness to it that makes it so much more pleasant to eat than a dry piece of cake. So I would say that I've kind of grown out of feeling grossed out by that particular word at this point. What's one personality trait you wish you had? Well, I guess this kind of ties in with the previous question about work to live or live to work. I think for someone like myself who is more of a live to work type of individual, I'd definitely say that there's a little bit of like a lack of chill that comes along with that and being a control freak. And it makes it a little bit difficult sometimes for me to be in the moment and, to relax, honestly. There are a lot of nights where I stress myself out in a dream and then I spend the rest of the night thinking about it and not being able to fall back asleep. And I'm not the best meditator, although I've been trying. And if you know any good meditation apps for the hyper neurotic, then sound off down below and share them so that I can try them out. But I think, I would really love if I were a little bit more chill. I think it would be good for myself and people around me and would, help me feel like I can make the most out of my weekends without, every Sunday getting the inevitable Sunday scaries or just thinking about, how to really take advantage of the next week when, there's a whole day that I could be enjoying on Sunday. It's a little bit easier when we travel or do something that keeps my mind off of it, but I think, having a little bit more chill or ability to relax would be a personality trait that I would love to have. What's the next place on your travel bucket list and why? This is a good question because my next big trip will probably be my honeymoon. So being a Corona bride who had to cancel her wedding, but I did get married in a mini moni with my husband and a judge on the beach back in March. We do want to really live it up for our honeymoon whenever that will be safe and feasible for us. And one of the places that we've been discussing is going to Bali, because that's a place where we can go and sightsee, but also relax. I think, after this highly stressful time of everything going on in the world and, we'll need some level of just that breath of relief. And Bali is a place that is both, very exotic and different, so that we'll experience a different culture, but, it also is relatively cheap because of the value of the dollar there. And it's just so beautiful and so much culture. It's so different. So that's probably the top of my list in a new place to go. Although I also have been missing Jamaica. I've been there a couple of times, and that place is just the epitome of chill and relax. And it's one of the few vacations where I go there and I just feel a sense of ease. They have a saying that everything is irie over there, and it's true. It's just in the way that they live and eat and breathe and enjoy life, and it's a little bit of something that I would love to take home with me, as I said before. What's the worst food you ever ate? Oh, well, my family is from the former Soviet Union, which means that my culture is a kind of cross between Ukrainian and Russian culture, and obviously I'm an Americanized version too, because my parents have been living here for 40 years or so. And with any culture comes some strange foods sometimes. And the weirdest thing that I've eaten from the Russian side of things is called холодная, which is basically a jelly made out of like cow feet, and it's brown and jiggly and everything that you would expect that would be weird. So I wouldn't eat that again, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it to anyone looking to try Russian cuisine. And I think that's all the time I have to answer questions for today. Again, thanks so much for coming and checking out my plan with me. And thanks to Justine for doing this and being an excellent collab friend. And I also hope you didn't mind to see a little cameo from my kitty a little earlier on. Thanks so much, and bye.